Shalom, first and foremost, I'd like to give all glory, honor, and praises to Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai. Double honors to the apostle elders, a great millstone who rule well, and salutations to all you brothers out there pushing this word, love, truth, sincerity, and humility. Once again, it's the brother Shatia from the Chicago camp, coming back to you with what I hope is another quick and edifying sit down. And this is another video on the Common Sense Show with Dave Hodges. And he's talking about how far has the destruction of the American middle class progressed. Well, we already know that they've done a pretty good job of it so far, because during the lockdown, almost half of the businesses, the small businesses, the mom and pop places, about half of those went under. Very few of those bounced back. And according to some news sources, depending on how bad things get, they're going for a second lockdown. So if half the businesses did not make it through the first lockdown, what do you think is going to happen when they lock this thing down again? Okay, the middle class was the only thing that was keeping the economy going. And now, due to the health crisis, all that money has been transferred from the poor and the middle class to the elite. So let's let Dave speak on this. I haven't watched this video, but I figured it'd be pretty interesting. And let's see what Dave has to say, and we'll get some scripture.
Box following this video. You've heard this stat, but I think it bears repeating. 75% of Americans can't afford a $400 car repair bill. That's if you can get spare parts today. Have you heard that cars are being held kind of like in perpetuity while they wait for the parts to come in from China? It's a mess. But anyway, people can't afford it. People can't afford a health setback. This is one of the major causes of bankruptcy today, are health bills that aren't covered by insurance. I think if they take our money, they should have to cover everything. Don't you agree? What's an experimental treatment? Yeah, exactly. Oh, denied because it's experimental treatment. Denied because we don't know if it's medically necessary. Patient will be dead in 6 months without it, says the doctor. Well, we haven't determined that, says the non-doctor. Oh, do I hate healthcare insurance companies. Major cause of bankruptcy in America. But there's something else that we really should look at here, and it's a really telling statistic. 50% of America makes less than
35.
Fill in the blank.
Probably 35,000.
What's your guess? If you said less than $35,000 a year, you are correct. The mean average is 34,000 and some change.
Give this man a gold star.
Have you tried living on that? Do you realize how difficult that would be? People already living hand to mouth. I did a piece earlier about, are you ready to become the new American serf? Well, these people are well on their way. Home ownership is outside the reach of most Americans now. Rewards like going into the stock market and following good people and doing what they do and making money, those days are over. Those days are over. Going to work for a corporation and rising up and becoming the manager from ground zero, those days are largely over. Bill Clinton once said that you'll have an average person will have 8 jobs in their lifetime. He was really right. Artificial intelligence and computer advancement will really advance a lot of this stuff. But I don't see income changing. What we see right here in America is the widening of poverty. What about when real dollars, okay, let's talk inflation. Let's put inflation on this, okay? So let's say this person makes $34,000. The inflation rate right now, according to Shadow Stats, not the bullcrap coming out of the Biden administration, Shadow Stats says the inflation rate's 9%. Let's call it 10 for round numbers. That means that 35,000 is now worth what? 31,500 the next year. Let's take 10% more off of that. Let's say this goes for 2 years. Do you see where this is going? And pretty soon, inflation has driven the bulk of the middle class into the lower class. And then you add the higher taxes that are coming. These people will keep less of their money. Would you say this is a problem? I would say this is a problem. I would say it's a big problem. So disturbing, so distressing. And yet, is Biden talking about that? No. These are the people that Trump helped. These are the people that are now going backwards. That's it. That's it. That's it for America. That's it for the Common Sense Show. Thank you for joining us. Make sure you sign up for the commonsenseshow.tv.
He got a little tongue twisted. He was thinking two things at the same time. He's like, it's over for America and it's over for this show today. But yeah, the destruction of the middle class is very much on its way because they've been making all types of unrighteous decrees. As Dave said, Isaiah 10:1, woe to them that decree unrighteous decrees and that write grievousness which they have prescribed, putting in law to raise taxes. Okay, they are talking about, and he mentioned it on one of his earlier videos that he stated about America becoming serfs. And I believe this is a new tax called the unrealized tax. And he gave a good example where if your home costs one thing and it appreciates so much, you get taxed on that. You know, so they're trying to make it so anything that's of any type of gain, it's going to get taxed. I believe they call it unrealized gain tax. So they are putting these laws into play where, as Dave mentioned earlier, it's going to be impossible to do things the old way. And the reason why it's going to be impossible to do things the old way is because people are going to be getting replaced by artificial intelligence, or they're going to just plain be not able to afford it. Okay, folks are getting robbed left and right. And it's almost like they have no way to protect themselves or avenge themselves. Wage murder. Where is that one? Murder. I think it's in Proverbs. No, it wasn't a murder. It was a, I think it was called a bloodshedder. Yep. Ecclesiastic is sometimes referred to as Sirach, the 34th chapter. And I'm going to do it 21. And it says, the bread of the needy is their life. He that defraudeth him thereof is a man of blood. All right, now ultimately it's talking about the truth. But in this case, we're talking about bread in the literal and metaphorical sense of money. It says the bread of the needy is their life. Because you have to remember the scripture says money is a strong defense. And it says he that defraudeth him thereof is a man of blood. All right. And that's these rich elites. All right. The rich Edomites of the world. They're making sure that they have everything and everybody else, the 98 or 97% of the rest of the world, have absolutely nothing. And it says, he that taketh away his neighbor's living slayeth him. Right. That's why they call it a livelihood. And if you are not able to do things to afford a comfortable livelihood for yourself, then the only thing you're going to have is death. And it says that, and he that defraudeth the laborer of his hire is a blood shedder. And that's all these rich elite have been doing. Just finding out ways to nickel and dime people to death. And now, since we got the health crisis going on, now they're linking people's jobs to getting juiced. And if you don't get juiced, then they're saying that you're on paid, you're on leave, no pay status. Some places are saying you just won't have a job. All right, these things are highly unrighteous, because the scripture says that one is the chief thing and one is the principal thing. I think I want to get Prince. I want to say it might be the principal thing. Yep. All right. Ecclesiastes is sometimes referred to as Sirach 39 and 26. And it says, the principal thing for the whole use of man's life are water, fire, iron, and salt, flour of wheat, all right, because that makes bread, honey, milk, and the blood of the grape, and oil, and clothing. All right, so the basic necessities that you use to make things are what men use for their life. They bake it, they sell it, they trade it. All of these things they use, or they have a job that they like to do to help get them these things. And now you're saying that in the next maybe year or two, all this will be taken away. The middle class is through. Those days of pulling yourself up by the bootstraps, if you even have boots to pull up straps on. Okay, that's particularly goes out to you Jakes out there, but nonetheless, okay, those days are over where you can talk about pulling yourself up by the bootstraps. Or if you work hard and establish yourself and go to college and this and that, them days are over with. The middle class is done. This is truly the end of America. Call Halagim Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai. So that's all I wanted to say on that. I hope you all were edified. Until the next time, we're going to say Shalom.